Hello, hello. We are excited to be here today on the Unite Homeschool Support Network. We are live, I believe, on the network, on Facebook, and a couple of different places, as well as on YouTube. And so hopefully some of our members are going to tune in and join us here in a few minutes. And we have a special guest here today. I'm excited that Aaron, who also goes by Sensei, is joining us online. And so he's going to join us here in just a second. And we have a real treat in store. So Sensei is a professor. He is an economics guru, and he also is from Hawaii, which is where he got his nickname. So I'm going to go ahead and have him join in to us. Sensei, are you ready?
I'm trying to get the video
All
up.
right.
I'm just trying to do the live stream to YouTube, and then I'm going to get out of the way.
Okay, so Sensei, you guys are live with us here today, and we are excited to have everybody join us and learn all about economics from Sensei.
All right. Can you hear me? Everyone can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate you all inviting me to do this. And we ran into Angela at the Southeast Homeschool Convention, right? I think we had talked, and we just have started a business for the first time called Sensei Economics. And my background is I've been teaching economics since 2006 at the 2-year college and the 4-year college level. So I've had experiences teaching live courses as well as online courses. And from the very get-go, when I started teaching, I started teaching in community college, and it was a wide age range audience. And it was just, if you're looking at economics, and if you've all heard about this, economics is the deathly science. There's a lot of math and a lot of graphs, and people struggle to understand what on earth are all these obscure topics like demand elasticity? Why is this important at all? And when you're just trying to teach them the mechanics of it, it just, the eyes gloss over, and it's like, we just had enough of this. So I was definitely my first class, which was a night class, and think about teaching this for 2.5 to 3 straight hours live.
Oh my.
You quickly pick up like, oh my goodness, this is not something that, why do I need to learn this, right? So from the very get-go, the first semester, this was, if I'm remembering correctly, it was in the spring of 06. It was a night course. I was struggling. I'm like, well, there's got to be some way to get people to resonate with the material better. And it started off as, well, why not do a demand survey? And that was the start. And ever since then, in all the semesters that I've taught this, it's always been a project-based approach. And what we do in Sensei Economics is we would like you to come up with a business idea or help a business that you really, really care about. It could be your family's business. It could be a friend's business, a local business in the community. And we then focus on, well, what product does that business produce? And we start off the project by doing a demand survey. So if you're an entrepreneur, or if you have really good business ideas, or you're thinking about starting a business and you're not sure if what your business idea is something that is going to work, then Sensei Economics is for you. So going back to that very first class, it was just started off as a demand survey. And then as the semesters went on and on and on, we added more complexity and materials to the project for students to work on. So it was amazing in that once you get the product and you get that demand survey and then you have your business idea, we then progress to doing a budget on the business to see if the results you're getting from your demand survey in terms of what you should ideally charge to your consumers balances with your costs of doing business. We then, students typically do a presentation a PowerPoint style, for example, at the end is kind of the summary of what they've worked on in the project. And we include things like what sort of market model your business falls in and any sort of recommendations like that. And I've had the full range. It's wherever the student's at. Some students really like to delve into referencing lots of journal articles. Other students, the references, it really doesn't matter. It's whatever the valid reference is. So it could be personal communication, right? All those sorts of things. Any sort of reference, so long as you're referencing it. And we've got templates and models to kind of help students with their presentation. Another one that is for some people exciting is I've found it's for some students, if you want to identify someone that's a stakeholder that maybe is doing the thing that you're thinking about doing, that you want to present to either in Zoom or live toward the end at the end of the semester, that works for a lot of students. I've had other students that are completely on the other end and are like petrified to do public speaking. So I used to like actually require that in live courses. And I think for Sensei Economics, in talking a lot about this with my wife, Christy Miner, who's a co-owner to the business. So she does a lot of the marketing and the organization and all that kind of stuff. I think the thing that we felt works best is it's up to the student. If you want to do that, it can be tremendously beneficial. But I've had students that are literally crying because they're forced to do this up in front of the class presentation where they just don't want to do that. So only if you want to do that. So I guess, how do you want to deal with questions? Do folks have questions? I've got other parts of things I'm going to talk about, but maybe that's kind of who I am. And, maybe getting a better sense of where everyone's at. Right.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I actually just posted that on the comments area. So if anybody has questions for Sensei, please go ahead and post them in the questions, and we will see them and we'll do our best to get to the questions. But, it's interesting, Sensei, because I think maybe we could hire you as a consultant for our own business. We're getting ready to try to launch a resource center. And so we're doing exactly what you're talking about. It's our own little internal project right now. We are talking to the members. We're making sure there's demand. We're getting our budget. We're getting all of the expenses estimated. Obviously, we can't really know hard numbers until we know where it would be and some of those things. But, it's interesting because all of these things that you're describing are things that I'm living and breathing right now. And so it's absolutely true what you say, that is, economics is for everyone. It truly is. And, when I was in high school, I remember I took an economics class, and at first I was afraid, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But by the end, I thought, oh no, this is actually easy. I love it. It was so big. I don't know, maybe I had a really good teacher, but I found it really engaging and it made perfect sense. And so I then went to school, and I did lots of things before this, but then eventually I ended up with a business management degree. And so there's certainly economics in that as well. And so, I think
awesome. So the example that you're giving of the resource center.
That's right.
As we get to the end of the presentation and we look at some of the tools, we could actually kind of quickly play. No, I'm serious. Like it doesn't take very long. Just a kind of a sketch of like, okay, this is kind of how, if you're, let's say, looking at the budget, right, or doing your demand survey. But the demand survey piece, I would say that you want to take that with a grain of salt, because just because someone, most students, when they do their survey, there's a template. Okay, this is kind of the template you want to follow. They'll do the template, and then they will either do the survey, either directly entering stuff into the Excel file or on paper, or do a Google form, which is probably SurveyMonkey. They limit the questions to the free version, right? So the Google form, you can get lots of quick information. So yeah, I'd say with this particular one, just because someone says they're willing to pay a certain amount, or actually, I'm sorry, consume a certain amount at certain price levels, doesn't mean in reality they're going to do that. So, But
Yeah.
it's part of the academic piece. That's how one of the ways we kind of gravitate toward that pricing. The other one is just kind of talking with folks and seeing what they'd be kind of willing to pay. You don't have to kind of formally do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the big pieces you're trying to get after. Well, what do my consumers what are they willing to pay? What's that ideal total revenue maximizing price point for my consumer demographic? And then once you plug that into the budget, you're like, well, oh, that's too low.
That's right. How are we
It's
going
not
to
going to cover all our
diversify to
costs.
actually stay in business? Yeah, that's right. Which is why we're thinking we're going to have a coffee shop as well, because
Which
homeschool families are
Yeah.
tight. We have tight budgets, and so we need some of that maybe on the way to work money coming in and stuff like that. So that's exactly right. Well, why don't we go ahead and have you show us your platform? You have a private platform for your students, is that right?
Correct. So basically, and I'm getting. Hold on a second. We experimented with this. I'm going to share screen, and the first thing we'll look at is, if I'm remembering correctly, is this one. So when students are you able to see that, Angela?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, great. So when students purchase it, the company is run through Podia. So it's membership monthly subscription, and the pricing is available on the website. The base rate is like $65 a month, and there's a semester option. I don't recall off the top of my head what that is at this moment, but it's a little bit better than $65 a month. And if the student wants to go through and do everything with this project-based format in a month, they can certainly do that. So you're not tied to having to buy stuff by the semester. So if we kind of look at this here, they'll have access to all the project tools that are available for the project. And then the lessons are a combination here of various videos. And I'm going to kind of scroll down here. So there's foundational lessons that are in video format. The videos are anywhere from 7 to literally 10 minutes. Like there's nothing over 10 minutes. That'll be a very long video. And then with one of the students involved, we have a student that's currently involved. Like, again, we literally just started this business. So this is our first semester. The student asked that we add in mini quizzes, because I forgot to mention this when I was putting together this business idea. I was like, well, what do people hate? They hate exams that are worth a high percentage of your grade that you have to like study a lot for, and they're just mindless exams, and then obviously homeworks. But the student asked, well, what about quizzes to test my knowledge on the video? So we've got mini quizzes here that we've added, and I've certainly used the mini quiz format a lot. And that is kind of helping you get the key concepts that you're understanding that are brought up in the videos. And the videos are, how do we call this, very animated. So they demonstrate shifting, for example. And there are some examples on the website of videos. So I think the example on the website is the production possibility frontier example, the classical like guns and butter example. And this one it's a slightly more modern version of that. So there's general foundational lessons with the mini quizzes, and that's for both for the micro as well as the macro. So this I've taught both micro, macro combined courses. So if the student wants to do the full micro macro series, it could take up to the whole year. But it's up to the student and the family I'm going to go back and stop presenting or stop screen sharing. It's up to the family to decide what pace they want to go at. So we tried to really balance affordability, with like breadth and, of covering both everything you'd want to know about micro, macro economics to cover a full year if they want to.
Okay. So would you say that they should plan to take a full semester for one of them? Like if they wanted to do microeconomics, for example, they would plan to take probably the full semester. But if they were going to just focus on it solely and work on their project a whole lot, they could probably do it much faster than a semester. Is that right?
They could if they just wanted to focus on the project from a business standpoint and they were like running on a tight budget. I think you could do it. You would have to literally be prioritizing it for that month, but it's possible to pull that off in a month. Uh,
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't suggest doing that,
Sure.
but I don't think you have to be tied to this, that you literally have to do the coursework within a semester. And that's kind of how we gravitated to that pricing model, the monthly membership based pricing model. And yet with this semester, long, if you wanted to take it, pricing option, I think it might be actually not semester, full year. It's a full year membership option, or you go monthly. So it's not by
Okay.
the semester. Yeah.
Okay. And so if they purchased the full year, would that give them access to both micro and macroeconomics?
That is correct. And as this evolves, you'll probably see where I'm going here. We're going to have a lot of folks that are entrepreneurs by taking this course. And we are, if we get a critical mass of those folks, for example, for you, right, you do this whole Sensei Economics for your particular business, right? Then now all of a sudden, you may benefit from a mastermind monthly membership. So getting enough critical mass of business owners, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same field, but they've had very unique life experiences that can kind of help you navigate the challenges of your that you're running into in your business by just talking and coming up with potential solutions or being supportive of you in your journey. So that is one end. And then we might be also, depending upon the demand, looking for folks in middle school that want to get into this, not in terms of an in-depth academic perspective, but just kind of like a younger mastermind sort of group where they can kind of just talk about their business ideas. And we've at that conference, I talked to a middle schooler who had 3 business ideas, and in
Sure.
sitting down at the conference, was able to narrow in on one that made sense for that particular person at that particular time.
That's right. Well, because homeschool families, a lot of the parents are entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurship runs in homeschool blood. There are so many families who do a family business, and it's part of their school, and it's how they put food on the table. So,
and it's challenging when you run your own business because there's so much work involved, and it can be, I think, from the mastermind or that support network, it can be like, you may be thinking, what did I get myself into? Why am I doing this? Is this really something that could work out? And you have to have a lot of faith that it can work out. But I think it's always better if you're in the fellowship of other people
that's
that are
right.
supporting you in that journey. Yeah.
That's right. Great.
So I believe, just really quickly on that topic, we looked at that. So really quickly, as an example, when you sign up for the membership, through Podia, there will be discussion boards. So related to specific student, questions that students post, and I'll be answering those. As well as other students can answer them. So and then also kind of giving an introduction of who you are. So it's really, a community-based model of supporting students in their journey to figure out what business they want to start. That's ideal, or to take over. So it could be their family business, and there's some challenges they're running into there. And they take Sensei Economics and they take the tools from Sensei Economics to figure out how they can make their business better so that they can inherit that business and take it on. So
that's right.
Yeah. So it's really a community-based model, and you just subscribe to that monthly, and it's what you need. Maybe, you don't need it for a period of time, but then you might find that, well, maybe this mastermind thing sounds good, and I'm really at a point where let me just sign up for that for about a month or two. So yeah, that's kind of where we gravitated towards through Flip Lifestyle, which is through the Life Surge program.
Sure. Yeah, great. So, if we had folks that wanted to learn more about Sensei Economics, I believe you have both a website and a YouTube channel. Is that right?
That is correct. With the Sensei Economics YouTube channel, we have just a brief amount of stuff there, just mainly to give people a flavor for what we do. I think the one we wanted to pull up with the video was it was literally like under a minute.
Sure. Okay.
So there's a couple that you probably should check out. One is like if you wanted to see, so this is not on the website, this is on the YouTube channel. On the
Okay.
website, there's a production possibility frontier one that's pretty decent, and it's one of the lessons, and it shows okay, well, the whole concept of production possibility frontier, and in a lot of the slides, we take advantage of that PowerPoint aspect of being able to actually visually show these shifts and these marginal changes. So you'll clearly see that on the production possibility frontier video on the website. On the YouTube, there's a couple. There's one that there's a couple that are really short, kind of more like marketing, kind of showing you how the shifts. But I definitely like using a lot of humor. I mean, I don't know if the younger generation would consider my sense of humor funny at all, but yeah, I mean, they're definitely worth checking out. And then there's another one. I did a live demo on the concept of diminishing marginal utility. So this is like as you consume incrementally more of the same unit, the satisfaction you get from that, the second one is not as much as the first one, and so on and so forth, right? So that was done with Tabasco hot sauce, and that was done live. So I remember doing that. So in live courses, I had students bring in food, and they actually gave them a sheet of paper to graph out this effect of diminishing marginal utility, right? And it was very effective because they would get it. So they're literally okay on their like fourth whatever they're eating, like fourth banana or whatever they're eating, and they're like, oh, that now I'm really getting sick. It can be negative, right? So
Right.
I did this live in course once with Tabasco. I'm addicted to hot sauce.
Okay.
And I was looking out and I'm like, wait, how come you're not eating? I told you all to eat, but they're like, everyone stopped doing what I'd signed them to do, and they're watching me do this. And I'm like, well, what do you do? They're saying, well, we're watching you do this. I'm like, but no, I wanted you to eat, do this yourself. And they're like, that's not necessary.
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, the website, and there's so they'll give people a flavor, both the website www.sensei-economics.com, and then the YouTube, which is under Sensei Economics YouTube channel. They could just check stuff out. So it gives people a flavor. And then, as I said, with all the lessons, it's broken up in video. And I guess the thing I'll stress is it is a college level content.
Okay.
But it's the videos, I believe, allow you to get more of a visual sense of what goes on. And it's not like you're going to be like bombarded with homeworks, which there's no homeworks. It's not like you're going to be like 60% of your grade is based on how you test rotely on it exams. There are no exams. It is all networked through the project, which pulls in all the content, and then we'll discuss. And with the videos, right? There's certainly, you can do the mini quizzes to make sure you're on top of like the basic concepts, but they're like 5 to 6 question mini quizzes, and they're just designed to like, do you understand this? And if you don't understand this, there's weekly Zoom office hours where we will basically, if you have questions on the content or questions on your project, we'll be talking about that. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how would we find your YouTube videos? You mentioned them. Can you post a link in the comments for us?
Yes, let me see if I can definitely let me see here. I believe Christy might have accidentally closed out on that.
Okay.
But yeah, it should be. Let me see if I can find it again. Oh, sorry, hold on here. Yeah, so I might have to let me see if I can log into it. The problem I was running into was I've got my private YouTube account, and then there's a Sensei Economics one. And what Christy was trying to do is she was trying to log into that. Like we had it pulled up, ready to go. But I could have
Is it the production possibilities one? Is that the one?
yeah, so it on the YouTube channel, and I'm trying to find it.
I
So
found it. It's
oh, you did, okay.
Sensei Co Dojo. I found
Yeah,
it.
so there should only be like 4 videos. There's 2 like really short segments, and then
Okay.
there's yeah. So you were able to find it.
I did find the YouTube channel. That's right.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. Yeah, it's not my personal channel. It should be like the same icon, right? So with a
Yes,
little aloha
that's
shirt.
exactly right. Yep. Sensei
All right, awesome.
Echo Dojo. There we go.
Yeah, so the ECO dojo, right? The dojo is the house of learning, and ECO is economics, right?
All right. And so tell us a little bit about your name. Why did you pick Sensei and Dojo?
All right. So Sensei, this goes back to when I first started teaching at the college level. And everyone, was saying, well, professor or whatever, right? It's way too formal and stuffy. And obviously, if you're teaching somebody, you don't normally go by first name because it's like, the student needs to have some sign of respect. So it was confusing because it was like, well, professor's way too formal, and then just first name basis is way too informal. In Brazil, what they do, I've got a lot of colleagues in Brazil, they mix the two, so it's like Dr. Aaron. So in Brazil, I go by Dr. Aaron. But again, doctor is way too stuffy, right? Doctor, whatever your formal degrees are. So I started thinking, I'm like, okay, well, I'm Japanese American and I grew up in Hawaii. And wait a second, I don't do martial arts, but I did wrestle, which is kind of like martial arts. Yeah, it's just so folk style wrestling. Okay, well, Sensei. Why don't I just have my students refer to me as Sensei if they want to? And that was perfect because it's right in the middle. It's formal enough to indicate that, okay, well, there's somebody that is teaching you, and it's not too stuffy, right? So that's
right.
that's how we gravitated towards Sensei. And then once you start getting into Sensei, and I was a big Karate Kid fan, and oh boy, I remember with one of my first classes, I had everyone stand up and I had them practice chanting, "Yes, Sensei, no, Sensei." Like 120 students.
Oh dear.
And so then, okay, well, if you are and again, I didn't watch the most recent Karate Kid with Jackie Chan, but this is like back with Pat Morita, right, and Ralph Macchio. So the original one, right? So it's like the dojo. So the dojo, just like you would go to a martial arts dojo, you're now in the ECO dojo, which is like a house of learning, right? And so yeah, I mean, I am 100% Japanese American. I take full license on tapping into my cultural heritage, so I can use the term Sensei and ECO dojo and that whole sort of thing.
Very good. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for coming on with us today. And we will spread the word. I think economics is for everyone. And just as we were talking about in our own business, whether you've got a 12-year-old who wants to start selling something on, to their friends, or you have an 18-year-old with a future business plan, or you yourself are trying to start your own business for the family, I think everybody can benefit from learning about the economics of business. So thank you very much, awesome. Aaron.
Yeah. And again, I pulled up, and I could certainly forward to folks just some of the examples of what the student's presentation might look like, or some of the files we use in terms of processing, and that whole sort of thing. But
that's
yeah,
great.
I mean, it's been great to talk talk to you and everybody, and I really appreciate you all taking the time to hear about Sensei Economics.
Sure, yeah. And real quick, if there's any questions, go ahead and post them here. And or how could Aaron, how could somebody reach out to you if they had a question afterward?
Sure. The best email, and I guess I can type into the chat, right?
Sure.
Is sensei@sensei.economics.com. So there's a
Perfect.
direct email there that we all check pretty frequently. And yeah, so
That's great.
yeah.
Awesome.
And then
Thank
just
you, Aaron.
thank you all so much. Thank you, Angela. And
Yes.
definitely this business idea you have, that you're talking about, which is the business you're running with a homeschool group here, it sounds so intriguing, and it'd be great to see if Sensei Economics could help.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll have to tell you a little bit more about it when we see you at the science fair. So,
Yes, yeah,
so
science
everyone
fair.
can meet Sensei in person at the Woodstock Science Fair. And did you say that you might be at West Cobb as well?
I think we would be able to, like with the two that you mentioned. Well, there's one that was closer to Cobb. There's one that was more east, right?
Sure. So there's one. Woodstock is very close, and then West Cobb is not too far. So I think that was the two dates that you guys had agreed. Thank you, guys. We will see you very soon. And any homeschool families that want to join us for Science Fair can meet Sensei there as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We had talked about this, and I believe schedule-wise, we'd be able to definitely participate that. And I think my closest experience to that was for a number of years. I was the Future Farmers of America Ag Sales Judge.
Okay.
So I don't have direct experience in terms of science projects, but I have conducted a lot of science. I published quite a bit. We're not, so if, any sort of science, I think I'd be able to at least do some sort of judging. But with the ag sales, that was more kind of marketing pitches, but that was
Sure.
live and in person for a number of years.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing all these different projects and learning a lot about what students are doing, and that'd be incredible.
Sounds great. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on today. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.